millennial parents are back. You guys just love us so much, you're forcing us to keep making videos. So, so here it goes. This is a comment that we received on a video we made recently called Born in 1981, Do We Count as True Millennials? Vote and decide. And I like particularly this comment from one of my cousins named Vasquez OVJ65. Here's what he says, quote, "For the most part, I agree with your wife. You are who you are. I was once told and agree that often the current generation shares more similarities with their grandparents' generation than they do with the previous or their parents' generation. It is not unusual for children to get along more with their grandparents than they do their own parents. I believe that it's often the case if the current generation is conservative, the next will be more radical and anti-establishment. Also vice versa, if the current generation is anti-establishment, the next will tend to be more conservative, which explains to some degree why in some cases children often get along with their grandparents better than their own," end quote. Now, here's the thing that I find the most fascinating about this. Something you will see in the videos we've done and will do in the future is that we are very focused on teaching our children to manage money, to save and invest and be hardworking people. That's like part of our identity. And something this comment made me think of is, so we were married in 2008, and then the big recession, whatever it's called, the Great Recession happened, the next year in 2009. So we get married and then bam, welcome to the real world. And so, the greatest, financial crisis since the Great Depression, which I guess our grandparents lived through. Mm-hmm. And so, sure enough, especially my Italian grandfather, he was the epitome of, he bought things at yard sales, he kept his clothes forever, he paid off his house within a couple of years. It didn't appear on the outside that he had any fun when he spent his money, because he was that serious about how he handled his money. And I saw that and I connected to it. But then once we got married, when this financial crisis hit, it only reinforced everything I saw in him, because now we're going through it again. So I can see how that parallel exists with us. Have you thought about that? How, like, for us, we're going through something similar that our grandparents went through, as far as we're working so hard. Like, we both went to college, you got your master's. We had so much debt we had to get through. I mean, so much of our marriage was just getting out of that debt. And we're so aware of our challenges. I mean, for us to pay off our house early is like the biggest deal. That's what we're striving towards, because we know how much that will get us ahead if we outsmart the system, because we know that we don't really own this house, the bank does. So we're very aware of that and thinking, how can we get ahead financially? How can we outsmart the system? So, but what do you think about that? Do you think that there's a parallel, like, with us and our grandparents, how we might have more in common with them, how they're compared to even our own parents? What do you think about that?
I guess, yeah, we've seen a lot of similar situations, and the financial thing is a big piece to that. And yeah, I know that's one of our big goals in life, is to live in a paid off house, yeah, and not have any debt, and to not, give people extra free money that, we don't have.
Which goes back to the millennial thing. Like, why do we not care about golf? Why do we not care about jewelry? We don't have money to care about those things.
Right.
We're
and
trying
it's
to
not,
pay off our house.
yeah, because you realize the importance of a dollar when dollars are limited, and you have kids and you want the best for your kids, and but there's a balance between the material stuff and just wanting to provide the best life for your kids, yeah, despite all the materialism and consumerism around you.
And we're teaching them a constant lesson by the way they see us spend our money, and even if we help them manage their own money that they get as gifts or whatnot. I am just overly aware of that. And I was watching a movie with my son recently, which is called The Little Rascals. It was the sequel that they have to their movie, and it's where the grandmother, who's like in her 70s, owns this bakery, and she's $10,000 in debt, And this developer comes along and offers to buy her business for $100,000 so she could pay off the $10,000 debt, be done, retire, and have $90,000. But instead, the Little Rascals Save the Day. That's what it's called. The Little Rascals Save the Day. That's the plot. That's the name of it. Thank you for helping me rhyme with that. And so, of course, they win the talent show, which pays $10,000. Yeah, right. And she gets to save her bakery. It's all about emotion. But I'm watching that, and I'm teaching our 7-year-old son, she should have taken the $100,000, paid off the debt. And he took it seriously. He still enjoyed the movie. But that is a lesson. I'm all about teaching our kids the right way because I'm so focused, and it's not about money in excess like it was in the 80s when we grew up and we were kids. It's about outsmarting that whole concept that got America into the trouble for biting off more than they could chew during all that, leading us to be where we are today. So, and only recently I learned too, I read an article saying that our generation, millennials, age 36 that we are, born in 1981, that we are making 20% less than our parents did, that our generation is. So we're having to work that much harder for less, and especially for those of us who went to college, we have to get through all that debt first, which we only, how many years of our marriage were we paying off debt, for that?
Honestly, I didn't have that much debt from school, and then we paid, because we followed Dave Ramsey's stuff, his budgeting plan, and we paid my tuition, we paid it
kind of as we went.
Yeah, as we went. Thank you. But yeah, so we didn't have, you had a little bit, but comparatively now, when you hear about the cost of college, it's just crazy that people spend 40 grand, and I'm telling you, you do not make 40 grand coming out of college. I don't care if you're, maybe when you're a doctor, but you've already spent, 6 to 8 years in college, and you probably have at least $100,000 in debt. You don't start off at 100,000. You definitely start off much lower than that. And
so you've got the same problem, just on different proportions. You make more money,
exactly.
Then you've got a monstrous amount of debt.
Yeah.
So I think what happens to us millennials, especially those of us who are parents too, raising a family, you're forced to become good at managing your money. And if not, you're in bigger trouble than perhaps our parents would have been. You're forced one way or the other, I think, is what happens to us. And I think that's something about our generation that I'm just now fully understanding, that this isn't just us. This is the norm. So you have to either be very focused on it, or you become the victim in that.
But I think in years before us, I think maybe it kind of ends with us, but that people go into debt, that it's it's perfectly fine to go into debt, to get a car, and you just take out a loan and you just have your monthly payment. And it just, it never occurred to me when I went to go buy a car for the first time, for the first real time on my own, that I don't have $12,000, but of course I'll just make payments, and
it's because it's normal.
Yeah, that's what everybody else does.
It's the adult responsible thing to do, is to go into debt.
Exactly. And I think that culture is starting to change. I think millennials, are increasingly aware of budgeting, and it's become the normal to hear the word budget and to have a budget, because otherwise you spend your money on, you don't know, it just goes out the window.
Goes out the window. It's funny because you're saying that. I don't know how abnormal this makes us or not, but our garage is right behind the camera, and we have paid off cars. Your car is a couple of years old. Okay, we basically bought it in cash.
Yeah.
Mine, what's funny is, this is January 1st, 2017. I bought my car January 2006. So this month makes how many years I've owned it? I'm so bad at math. 2006.
12 years.
Okay, so I've owned the car for 12 years, and it's been paid off after the first year. I had it paid off. But I've owned that car. It's got way too many miles on it. It's a 2004 Honda Element, and is a joke. It's hilarious. Like,
It's like a skate on wheels.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, a skate is
Or-
is on wheels.
Skate on.
But it's like a skate.
it's like driving a roller skate.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to look at. It's kind of a joke. It's worn in, it's worn out, but it's still running. And it's like, well, that's payments we don't have to. If it were up to me, I would have a Jeep Wrangler. I would be so happy if I had a Jeep Wrangler. That's one of my dreams. I don't care about material things, but if I could have a Jeep Wrangler. But it's like, however, this car still runs.
Yeah.
And it needs new tires and it needs new brakes, but I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I don't really have to drive very far. So it's like,
That'll probably be several months before we get that.
and we've been saying this for several years.
Yes.
Well, the next year we need to really work on getting you a new car. But it's just not a
Yeah,
priority.
situations change. And I mean, your car only has, I think, 165,000 miles on
Yeah.
it. So for something that's not being driven, it's like you just need to wear it into the ground. And when it stops
Yeah.
running, that's when we go and we see about finding a very
Well,
used Jeep.
Or
For you.
pay $2,000, get a new motor, and keep driving it because they
Well, no, I don't think we'll do that.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
So I do get my Jeep.
You will get your Jeep, but it won't be a brand new souped up version.
And I wouldn't want
unless
one.
these videos take off.
Ooh. But yeah, because a brand new one, what does that bring? Higher insurance. And
Yeah.
we don't want that.
No,
We're paying so
we don't
little
want-
for insurance for my car.
And it's kind of cool to have a older Jeep.
Yeah, totally. Totally. It's got
Jeeps are
character.
classic. They
Yeah.
never go out of style. So.
Yeah. So there you have it. We are millennials born in 1981. We've lived through this, and it is. Had we not, though, we wouldn't be as good as we are with handling money. Like
Yeah.
for the fact that
I mean, I
financial
think there's
crisis
still
happened-
room for growth.
Oh, of course
but-
there is.
yeah.
Absolutely. And just talking about it even now, this makes me like even more excited to be a part of this, and like to think, hey, we're 36. How soon can we pay this house off that we, bought 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Like that's how you outsmart the system. This is exciting.
It is exciting.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget, this is an extension of a blog that exists. Family Friendly Daddy blog. It's all about our life. But these videos really bring to life who we are. We're talking to you. We're having conversations with you that you leave in the comments. We exist because you keep us alive by making us relevant by watching these videos. And we love you.